In this video we're going to talk about places you can go in your mind and whether or not you should go anywhere. We ask you to consider returning the energy shared in these videos through PayPal or Patreon to unlock flow for yourself and so that we can continue sharing the source truth and guidance. More empowerment and clarity to you. You can take your mind many places. You can take it anywhere you want. You can think about anything that comes to mind or anything that you yourself seek out. But it doesn't mean that you should think about anything. It doesn't mean that you should give in to anything or take anything in. So what does it mean to go somewhere in your mind? What are you doing by starting to think about something or explore something? And what are you doing when you take it in? Within consciousness, you can explore whatever you want. You can explore any idea or concept or things that could be true or untrue. And essentially you would do it to raise your frequency or to change your subconscious programming into a more beneficial one. And many things might come to mind throughout the day, but with a high level of maturity you will be able to recognize whether or not that is something to even consider dwelling more in. With a high level of maturity you will recognize whether or not it potentially could hold any truth, or if it could even hold any value for you to figure out at this point in life. So you see that one of the most valuable skills you can have is learning how to keep your mind centered and still and quiet, and to control your mind so that you don't go anywhere, so that you don't go wherever your mind suddenly wants to go, because it's not necessarily always a beneficial place. It doesn't necessarily hold any true value to dwell on that thing, and often you should be more mature so that you could recognize that this thing isn't something that you even need to think about. It's far from true, it's far from giving you any benefit or value whatsoever. The greatest practice you can do to gain control of your mind is simply to stay in the moment. And it is a very simple thing, but it's not necessarily as easy as you first might think. It is a process and it is a skill. And if you practice it, and if you find value in staying in your center, staying neutral, finding that place where you are calm and sharp and focused, then it will be easier for you to follow through with the practice and gain that skill. And practice throughout the day. Recognize if something comes to mind, or if you feel like you're getting pulled towards thoughts or ideas, and intend to rather stay neutral. Intend not to go there. Intend to rather stay here and now, in this moment, and rather observe the things that come and go, and understand that they don't need to be true. They can simply be thoughts, and they are always just consciousness, where you have the total spectrum of anything that can possibly be true or false. And right now you might encounter something that isn't true and that isn't going to benefit you to think more about or to start believing in. Because it might all seem very real and very true as you step into the realm of that idea that came to mind and you take it in. And from that place where you start observing the rest of the things that exist in that realm, then those things are mostly going to support this illusion. And by rather practicing staying in the moment, you're going to develop a good source self-connection, a higher level of maturity, and it's going to be easier for you to distinguish the lies from the truths, and the places where you should take your mind, and the places that you shouldn't. So practice staying in the moment. Understand that you don't need to give in to anything. You are the creator. You don't want things to happen on autopilot. Until now you probably have many times might have given in to all sorts of ideas, and you might have seen what they caused you. You might have gotten frustrated or angry or annoyed when there really was no reason to whatsoever. And it might have caused you more harm than good. It's kinda like when you wake up from a bad dream where your significant other had, let's say, cheated on you. And you wake up and you are truly angry at them. And you're upset and you're sad and stressed and confused. But it had nothing to do with it. It was all you, and your dream was a reflection of what you might have given into a little throughout the day. But you see, it's the same thing with anything that you give into. Because any idea exists, any idea about anything. And are you going to allow yourself to give into anything that comes into mind? To be a powerful source player means to have control in this game. Control of what you choose to think about and how you deal with the things that might appear, let's just call it accidentally. Of course, there is a lot more that goes into being a powerful source player, but in this aspect of the game, you would be powerful if you could control your mind. Don't go anywhere, because wherever you go, it might seem real. You will get fed all of the ideas that fit in to that realm, the ideas that are similar or that can escalate the whole thing further. And if you recognize that you have started giving into something that turned out to be a potential lie or unbeneficial thing to think about, then simply see it go. See yourself letting go of it and return back to the moment and let go of it. Simply, fully and completely let go. Retrieve back to the moment and neutralize with your mind any part of you that still wants to go there, or that still wants to hold on to it a little, or that still wants to hold on to any of the consequences or the ideas that still might remain. Let go of it. Return back to the moment and be happy now. And go on about your day. Learn to rather go places intentionally. Learn to figure out what high frequency is. Intend for high frequency. And allow yourself to explore the ideas that appear as you intend for high frequency. That is the realm you want to experience. And as you take in that realm, which kinda happens naturally as you are thinking about high frequencies, then you will resonate with more ideas in that realm that are of high frequency, that will raise your frequency more. The reason that you have got fed that information till now is, of course, subconscious, and it is based on where you have felt like going previously, and it can be for different reasons. You might have seen a movie that gave you an idea, you might have seen some advertisement that gave you an idea, you might have talked to someone, you might have seen something. But the reason you are resonating with those thought streams is subconscious, and it is because of what you have given into before. So imagine just keep giving into anything that appears. Well, eventually you're going to have created a big mess for yourself. So of course raising your frequency is about dealing with all of that mess, cleaning out all of those things that have appeared as you have been going anywhere. You might have been immature, you might not have known who you are or where you are or what the point of the game is, and you have simply given into ideas. And as you have started raising your frequency, you have, to a certain extent, practiced not giving into anything. But you can step it up a level. Choose to practice staying more in the moment throughout the day. Practice not giving into things. Practice rather observing and asking whether or not this is something you should give into. Could it be true? Could it be beneficial? Or should you just let it go? And if you keep practicing like that, you will become very good at not giving into things. Then you can choose what you want to give into, and you can pick and choose the high frequency, and you will resonate with more high frequency, and you will become used to not giving into unbeneficial things that are going to trip you up or create more mess. And you will start a life where you're cleaning, where you're raising your frequency, where you're becoming more free, more empowered, and overall higher frequency. So whatever you're looking at, any idea in your mind, any physical object in the real world, are things that holds ideas. And by looking at that thing, you're starting to absorb the idea of that thing. You're starting to step into a realm. And it is pretty serious, but it's not as bad as it might sound. Essentially, it is just in that aspect of life. But then that is an aspect of life that is going to be troubled if the idea is unbeneficial and low frequency. So any idea you might get in your mind now, let's say the idea that you are a powerful source player that can create a great life for yourself, that can have great growth in a day. That is an idea that you can look at and start harmonizing into. And the more you play around with thoughts like that, things like that, the more that is the realm that you are going to experience and pick more beneficial things from. You're harmonizing into it. It's becoming your dimension. It's becoming your reality. And you understand it's the same for unbeneficial things. So learn not to go there. Learn to recognize what is beneficial and what isn't, and what potentially could be true, and what a lie tastes like. So if you were to watch a movie A movie which is 1.5 hours long, maybe 2 hours long, it's going to contain a lot of things, a lot of ideas. And for you to be a high frequency source player, you need to be careful when you watch movies. You need to stay on alert. You can't take in anything that appears in the movie. Not everything they say is true. Not every behavior is something that you want to image. You don't want to become like anyone in the movie, or to have the opinions that those people have. And that's just movies. Then you have the rest of anything you can potentially see and observe in the physical. Then you have everything that can come to mind. Of course, the movie can evoke many of those things, ideas and lies. So you need to be careful. If you are going to raise your frequency, you need to be utmost careful. You can't give in to anything. You need to stay focused, stay alert, recognize that not everything is true. And if it isn't true, then it's not as beneficial as if it is true. Learn to rather observe. Learn not to go places. Learn not to harmonize into anything that is in front of you or that comes to mind. Don't be so sensitive of anything that is happening in front of you or that comes to mind. Learn to be more neutral, more in a place of observing, a little laid back. Don't take anything in. Don't take anything for being truth. Don't harmonize into anything that comes to mind. Stay neutral, stay focused. Retreat back to the moment, stay in the moment, observe, control your mind. You can simply use your intent. Use your intent throughout the day, your intent on not to give in to things. If you're watching a movie and it's a little fast-paced and a lot of things are happening and you feel like you might be taking them in a little, then simply just intend not to give into it. And you can do the same with the rest of your day. Intend to simply not give into it. And if you were to give into something, then you need to look at it, just like you're going to look at anything else. Is it true? Is it beneficial? Should I let go of it? And then you let go of it. If you have benefited from this content, consider returning the energy through PayPal or Patreon. You get out of this whatever you put in. More empowerment and clarity to you. Thank you.